just take questions. I'm ready for that.
Dan Tortora, wakeupcalldt.com. Coach, just what you can say about, the heart of this team, the drive of them, the entire season, no matter what's happened up and down, they haven't blamed each other for anything, and they've stayed close.
Well, we've never blamed anybody for anything in 42 years, so we're not going to start now. We go out, we do the best we can, what we have, and this team has played, as hard as you could ask them to play. Every game they've competed. Because of the way our schedule ended up setting up, everybody we played had a chance, and the way we are, everybody that we played this year had a legitimate chance to play with us or beat us, starting with, Texas Southern and Iona and Buffalo and, all the teams we played early. We had to maximize our effort in each one of those games to win. We've struggled at times offensively. At other times, we've done some really good things offensively. But given the limitations and the numbers, I couldn't ask anything more from this group.
Jason Ross Jr., DetroitSportsMedia.com. Jim, what do you think your team did well last night that you would hope to carry over to tomorrow?
I think our defense was pretty good. We made some bad mistakes defensively, but Arizona's a high-scoring team. They averaged in the 80s, and we held them to 56 points. So I think our defense was good. I think offensively we struggled, as we have for the most part this year. We had a couple stretches in the game where we played well, but it was, again, mainly our defense and rebounding were pretty good.
Mike Watersman, Syracuse Post-Standard. Jim, do you see any similarities in this TCU team and Jamie's teams at Pitt?
I think this is a much better offensive team than some of the teams, most of the teams I think he had at Pittsburgh. I think they were more defense. We got hurt more when we lost to Pittsburgh on the defensive end. We didn't really get much offense, have much offense success against his better teams. We lost some of those games in the 50s. We just couldn't score enough. But this team is a really, really good offensive team. I think much better than any that I can remember. At Pittsburgh, this team has got multiple guys that can score and size and a really good rebounding team. I think it's a much better offensive team than any of those teams were.
Hi, I'm Vedant Gupta. I'm applying for Sports Illustrated for Kids, and a lot of kids like giving back to their community. And over the years, what have you seen, what community work that you guys have done?
Well, we're in a rather small community, so our players have been tremendously active. We do multiple things every year. We do a dinner for the Make-A-Wish group that provides about 8 to 10 wishes a year, which means in the neighborhood we raise about $100,000 every year with a luncheon for ladies only. We do stuff through our foundation. Our players are very active. We generally grant about $500,000 to $600,000 a year in the community to the Boys and Girls Club and any other organization that works with kids. Our players are very active in our foundation and our fundraisers. We do a lot of other things in the community. Those are the big things we do, but we do a lot of other things in the community, and we work with soldiers at Fort Drum, 10th Mountain Brigade, which is the main fighting group that represents our country in about 14 different countries in the world, and specifically mostly in Afghanistan. But the players are very active and have really helped us in all the things that we do in the community, and it's been good. We've raised a lot of money for Coaches versus Cancer. They've helped us with that. and really proud of our players being involved in the community.
So, Coach,
Greg.
I understand your daughter, per the game yesterday, is in the state finals.
Tomorrow.
Yeah, tomorrow. Sorry. So, number one question is that as a parent, what has it been like to take her on that journey? And number two, how do you keep an eye on that game, hopefully avoiding the time conflict?
Oh, I hope it's live streamed. They play at 6:15 tomorrow night. Hopefully it is. I was at her last game where they won the regional, and they won the last 2 state championships in their division. So they have 3 seniors who've played through. This will be their 3rd try at winning a state championship. It's fun to watch them. You watch them in the summer with AU, and of course my other son played in the state last year and played in the prep school championships this year. And my other son's a freshman at Cornell, so I've got to watch a lot of extra games this year. I'm really happy that they're done with AAU basketball. It's, every coaches complain that we have to go out for a month. I was out 4 months last summer: April, May, June, July, and a couple in August. So, but it's fun watching them play. They like the game. They've always liked it. Their mother pushes them pretty hard, and I like to go watch them. She coaches them.
Greg Joyce, New York Post. How do you handle such a quick turnaround with a group that's already shorthanded and having to play another game in 48 hours?
Well, it's tough. But if you're in this tournament, you play Friday night, you're going to play again Sunday, so you're going to play twice anyway. During the season, we played quite a few. Well, not as many as we usually do, but we played a few back to Sunday, Mondays, and back-to-back games, and we had a lot of 3 games in 6 days, 7 days. So we're prepared for that, but they'll be ready to play.
Coach Brian Estridge with TCU Radio. Earlier, Coach Dixon talked about how you were very open with him early on when he got the Pitt job and developed a really good relationship. Can you talk and expand on that relationship that you have with him?
Well, we were together a lot of years in the Big East and then the ACC, and I gave him too many hints that were good because he beat us a lot. But no, I thought he did an unbelievable coaching job at Pittsburgh. Ben Howland got it started, and then when Jamie took over, they did even better. And he's a really, really good basketball coach. And I just have a lot of respect. I was the chairman of the committee of the USA Basketball. We had him coach one of our teams overseas, and it was really a hard tournament. It was really a hard tournament. We had a team going to, I think it was Australia, but I did it for about 15 years. I had 15 different teams in 15 different years, but I think he coached the one that, it was a really hard tournament. We didn't expect to win, and he won the tournament with the guys he had. He was definitely, they were underdogs, but he's a great basketball coach, and he's done a great job, obviously, at TCU, and he did a great job at Pittsburgh.
Nicole
We
again.
wouldn't be here if he was still at Pittsburgh. Go ahead.
I'm wondering, just as a basketball coach, even when you're in the tournament, do you watch other games in the
I
tournament?
watch every game.
So you've been watching games all day?
I watch every game all night during the summer, during the season. I text Mark Few after every game he plays, what he should have been doing right and what he didn't do right. I love basketball. When they're not on, I watch the NBA. When they're not on, I watch the women's basketball. And when they're not on, I watch curling, if that's what's on. I know more about curling than any basketball coach in the country. I can tell you that right now. I like sports. I stay up late. I like to watch TV, and I like to watch sports on TV. Soccer's getting to be my favorite, but, my son have an argument. I think Messi's the best player. He thinks Ronaldo's the best player, but he's never right. He's just smarter than I am. I couldn't get into Cornell.
Jim, how is Brahma Sidibe's knee? How is he feeling?
Same as he's felt all year. Terrible.
What is giving you that indication? Just how he's playing in practice, how he's moving?
it's been bad for the whole year. I don't think it's going to change today or tomorrow. He's doing the best he can on it. He's got pain every time he plays. It's not going to hurt it anymore, but he needs to get it fixed. And as soon as we're done playing, we'll get it fixed. And it's not a major thing, but he has constant pain. Every game he can't jump. I don't know what happened at Pittsburgh, but he had one of those, something happened. I don't know what it was, but he felt good that one night, but that's been it.
We'll take one final question for Coach. Or maybe none. Oh, yep, go ahead.
Jim, just looking back with your time with David Patrick, is there any particular memory that stands out most?
Memory of who?
David Patrick with TCU.
Oh, David. I was thinking, what was he talking about? I was thinking of David Padgett for a minute there. David, we recruited David. He came in. Was a good player, but he came into Syracuse, and we had I'm not going to even try to name the player. We had a great point guard, so he really wasn't going to get a lot of time, and he transferred, which transfers are good. I mean, sometimes, not all the time, but quite a bit of the time, transfers, it's a good thing if you're stuck, and you get an opportunity to play someplace else. It's good for players to be able to do that. I think it will cause some issues with when players are able to freely leave, but the more that I think about it, even though there'll be some just crazy stuff happen. Some guy will, just say, I'm going to play a lot here, but I'm going to play more over there, so I'm just going to go over there. And, our coach yells at me too much, I'm going to leave. There's going to be a lot of that. But on the other hand, there's a lot of cases where you'll have a kid that it just didn't fit in your program for whatever, and he can go over here and play and not have to sit out. So I've always been against it because I'm afraid of what will happen. But in the balance of everything, I think the players to have that freedom will end up being overall a good thing, even though it will cause some crazy stuff. We really don't need to do as much as people think about our game, but we need to do more for the players. I love Charles Barkley. I've never really been a fan of some of the crazy things he said, but today he probably made about the best case of anybody I've heard on television in terms of what we should do. I don't know who told him to say those things, because I know Charles didn't figure it out by himself, but somebody did. And he had some great observations about paying players and what the deal is. And I think sometimes we forget there are 4,500 players playing college basketball. 4,500. And I was one of the 4,450 that was very happy to have a scholarship and play college basketball. There's 50 guys that, probably could get some more than they get in college but those 50 guys, and most of them end up making $100 million. So they end up all right. But the rest of us, college basketball is a pretty good thing for us. And we have made changes, and we have helped the players in ways that have, I think, been very good. And I'm hopeful that this commission finds some other way to enhance players' experiences. I mean, parents to games, parents travel, hotels for the tournament, or even for a game in the regular season or two, and whatever else they can do to enhance the experience for players. If you sold T-shirts, one of our players, it'd be about $5,000. That's for one guy. That's about what it would be. It's not like it'd be $100,000. I'm not saying that some guys wouldn't get $100,000 someplace, but That's in that. But let's just do some more for the players if we can. Let them talk to, get advice, from agents who are going to tell them to leave anyway. But that's all right. Let them get it. Let them talk to them and see what happens down the road. And there's so much made out of one and done. I've even said it. It's like if next year there was one and done. Just think of this year's freshman class. Who would have come out? Who would have come out this year? Who would not have gone to the NBA? Trae Young? He didn't even hardly play in the USA team last summer. He's going to be a top 10 pick. Why? Why is he going to be a top 10 pick? Only one reason. He came to college. If he'd have come out last year, he would have been a late first round, maybe, and he played the whole year in the D-League. Now he's going to be a top 10 pick and get a lot of money and play. Who really would have come out? I think maybe, I'm not going to start naming all kinds of names, but I think a couple guys, 2 or 3. And some more might come out, and they'd all be playing in the D-League for 2 or 3 years. Like a lot of guys that come out early now. So let them go. Let those guys go. And, I mean, you just look at Trae Young, for example. He'd be playing in Idaho someplace this year, riding the bus. I mean, it's this whole thing about, oh, yeah, let's get him in the G League. You ever been in the G League? You ever gone to a G League game? You ever lived where those guys lived? They're adults, 23, 4-year-old guys. You're going to put 17-year-old guys there? You got to be crazy. And the other thing is, there's 17 guys on every NBA team. Do people realize that? Do you even realize that? There's 17 guys on the teams. So if you're not a superstar coming out of college, the Bagleys and those guys, right? How do you think you're going to get the NBA? The guys up there at 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, they're you. With 3 or 4 years already in. And those guys up there in the league, they're not going anywhere. There's not many places up there. More and more people will start to understand that as we move forward. Sure, you can have a G League team. You got 12 guys there. How many guys? And you got 17 or 15 plus the 2 down, 2 guys with 2 ways. So where are those guys going? And so you, instead of paying them 30, what are you going to pay them? 100, 75, 100? By summer, they will not have a penny. It's just not a good plan. We need to fix the college experience as much as we can. Obviously, some things went wrong. We know that. Let's try to fix it. It's still the best way. If I have a son, I want him to go to college. Even if he's a great player, go to college for a year or 2. It does not hurt you to go to college. Whether it's 1 year or 2 years, it does not hurt you. It only helps you. Well, that's enough of that. Goodbye. Pardon? I'm not shocked. Miami struggled a little bit, without Bruce Brown. It's been a struggle. He's their guy. I mean, he's a great leader, great guy, and Loyola had a great year. I mean, there's going to be upsets in this tournament. I really thought the Penn game would be closer. They didn't shoot it quite as well as they can. But, Gonzaga's really good this year, and we played Greensboro last year, those same guys, and they're good. They had a really good team. It's college basketball. There's nothing wrong with the game. The game is good. We got a lot of good teams. There's a lot of good players on a lot of teams. And it makes for, I think, great regular seasons because you see great games. And we weren't great this year, but people that came to our games, they saw great games. They not only saw the league games, but the other teams we played that came in were really good. And the game's in great position because there's a lot of really good players. There's a lot of really good coaches. And the game will be fine. It's a great game. And, we just got to do some things and get things is make some changes, do some things that I think can be done, can help the game. We'll see what happens going ahead. Thank you.